Welcome back. You are now watching Talking Points, and now let's take a look at today's segment of our interview. And now for today's interview segment, National Days or Independent Days are celebrated annually all over the world. A search on Google reveals that the celebrations are mostly stereotyped with parades, exhibition, and other events. Of course, it also involves flying their national flags too. Today being Merdeka Day, Dr. Yam Kam Kyung, or popularly known as Dr. YKK, shares his thoughts about celebrating Merdeka more meaningfully that would instill patriotism and leave behind permanent benefits to the rakyat. This would be a breakthrough innovation in our future Merdeka celebrations. The secret lies in getting all the citizens involved in a smart partnership with the government, the private sector, and NGOs. Hello, Dr. YKK. How are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on here. All right, so before you share your insights on how to make celebrating National Day more meaningfully, and seeing that today is Merdeka Day, perhaps you could share with us the first on your thoughts about the previous celebrations we have seen over the years.
Well, every year we have different themes, and it's pretty standard that we have parades, national holiday, people go shopping, people have a great time, holidays. But the thing is, it's easily forgotten. It doesn't leave a permanent imprint. National Day celebration, to me, is not about the government organizing a parade and having a national holiday. It should be deeper than that. It should be more meaningful than that. It should instill patriotism. At the same time, it should bring permanent benefits to the people.
And what kind of benefits would you say those are?
Well, the thing is, if every project, let's say kampong or community, have a bidding process. You see, right now, a lot of demands are made on the government. Well, they want this, they want that. But at the same time, the people did very little. So, and if you do very little, if they contribute very little to a project, what do you think? They will not have ownership. They will not be proud of it because just given to them. And sometimes projects are forced on them. They do not like the project, but somehow for political other reasons, they have that project and becomes a white elephant. So all this alienate actually the government from the people, from rakyat. But if you have a celebration, which is a longer term, for example, it should start now for 2019 Merdeka. So if you have a system that way where the government plays a leading role, giving some guidelines and so on, then everybody in celebrating mood, not only in celebrating mood, but the most important thing is that it leaves permanent benefits to the citizens, to the rakyat.
So basically, we know that and appreciate our country more, not just on the day of Merdeka itself, but throughout the whole year.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing. All right, so how do all the countries celebrate their national days?
Well, as I say, it's pretty standard. I did a Google search and found that practically every country have a parade, sometimes military parade, sometimes a mixture of different professions, NGOs and so on. It's very attractive, very interesting to watch, and lots of money spent as well. Then, of course, a lot of flags, national flags to show national pride are flown. We have in cars, even motorbikes, buildings, houses, businesses, and so on. And in shopping, where the part people love best, at least for that day, they have special sales and promotions. There will also be exhibitions and so on for people probably to educate the people about the importance of national pride and patriotism and so on. To me, it is very passive and theoretical. That does not involve the rakyat, because most of the celebrations I see involve only a tiny percentage of the people, the organizers of the parade, the exhibition centers, and so on. So there is very passive sort of bystanders. That the rakyat become passive bystanders. They are not part of the celebration. Don't feel part of the celebration. That's why inspiration came to me. I say, why not have a celebration where it's possible for nearly everyone to get involved and take pride, ownership, take part of what you call responsible citizenship, where they actually contribute. In a complex world like today, the government cannot do everything, right? It needs to come from a partnership, I call smart partnership, between the people, the government, the private sector, and NGOs. Right? So all this, if they come together, then it will be a marvelous celebration that will be memorable. You see, every celebration should leave a mark. What is memorable, for example, about 2017 celebration? Can you name me one? Something that leaves a permanent effect. That's done, isn't it? So my idea is to change all that into something much more exciting, something that will involve everyone, something that most of people will benefit, and something very memorable.
But what we are doing now, the celebrations, is acceptable, just we wanted to create more.
Yes, I think the current celebration is good, but as I say, like all those ingredients I mentioned, right? It doesn't have the participation of rakyat. They are passive observer on TV or go to Putrajaya, for example, this Merdeka, to see the parade and all that. Have a good time, but that's all. There's no permanent imprint, you know. What is required is a permanent imprint that will make, for example, 2019 memorable, something that is unforgettable, something that the people will cherish. Wow, we have a fantastic 2019. And we can do that if we start planning for the next celebration that involves everyone.
Exactly. All right, so you are a creativity
And innovation expert. Do you think it is possible to introduce innovations in National Day celebrations?
Yes, definitely. As I said, I did some Google search on creative National Day celebration. I couldn't find any. I was quite disappointed. I thought other countries will have. So I thought to myself, I say, that's not right. You know, because what is Merdeka? What is Independence Day? If someone must have pride in the country, someone is a participant, not a bystander. Right? So I thought of this idea where everyone will be involved and there will be permanent benefits. So every National Day celebration will leave behind a mark. And we will also have a competition whereby this great projects will be highlighted on TV or series or something. That is much better instilling the idea of patriotism, the idea of participation, the idea to endear the government to the people, so that they will love the people, and the government loves the people loves the government. I think that is the essence of National Day celebration innovation.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So you mentioned celebrating National Day more meaningfully, instilling patriotism and bringing permanent benefits. Can you explain more on starting with meaningful?
Well, how do you define meaningful? It has to be meaningful for the people and meaningful for the country. So what is meaningful to a country? That will instill pride in the people. What achievements? That's why the current practice of having a parade and maybe a documentary on how the country has progressed since independence and so on, that will sort of instill pride and make it meaningful. However, I think we did not go deep enough. That's very shallow to me, you know, on the surface. But how can you make it deeper? How can you make it more meaningful? So the key thing is involvement of everyone, all right? So for example, let me give you an example. If a village as a kampong, they have very poor water supply, let's say, and they will have to bid for the project. You see, currently it's spoon feeding, which is not good. The rakyat must have some input as well, so that whatever is given to them, they cherish it, they treasure it, they will maintain it. Our previous Prime Minister, Tun Badawi, says that we have first world infrastructure but third world maintenance. And that is part of the non-involvement of the people. So for example, as I said, if a remote village, has a problem of water supply. So they must plan, okay, I think we have beautiful spring water nearby, but how do we direct this spring water from the fresh spring water to our homes? So they will think of their own, maybe even using bamboo pipes or whatever, need not be very sophisticated because they're talking about village. So they maybe use some bamboo pipes, they will come up with some ideas, and that's where you develop a culture of creativity and innovation, solving problems. So with bamboo pipes, they can bring it, they will draw a simple sketch and propose to the local assemblyman or Ketua Penghulu or whatever. And after that, they will then, maybe a village committee decide, okay, to make sure that this happens, we need some expertise, someone who plumbing expert, so water supply expert, and so on. That became provided by the government. I got this inspiration actually by watching some documentaries about how China has eradicated poverty. You want to know?
Yeah.
This? You see, eradication of poverty does not mean giving money, you're having projects there and all that, and so on, and just teaching them new skills. That is not the right approach. What the Chinese approach is that to make them self-sufficient so that they will multiply the income, they'll be self-sufficient, to help them so that they don't anymore help, right? So that they be independent in a way, in self-sufficient financially, in food and whatever. So what the China government does is to send experts to this village, live with them for a couple of weeks, examine the way of life, actually live the way of life, so that they understand firsthand what is it all about, all right? There's a place where they say, wow, the soil is very good for growing apples, all right? So they get some agriculture experts, go to this village, help them that this land is very fertile for apples, so they planted apples and all that, and they created apple exporting industry, exporting at least supply to the demand. So the wealth grew by leaps and bounds, the quality of life, and so on, everything improves because of the effort put in by the villagers, and the government is a facilitator. So for each village, each one has its own separate requirements. So you have to study them, and this model, I think, is possible, adapted to Malaysia.
Yeah, that's smart. So they have like a long-term solution for
That's
it.
right, yeah. To bring them out of poverty, not only to bring them out of poverty, make them prosperous, to prosper them, not just eradicate poverty, but to prosper them.
Exactly. All right, so how about patriotism? How do we instill patriotism into the hearts of the citizens?
Patriotism is love of country, and in a certain way, love for the people, love of the government as well. If the government is caring and does things that fulfills the desire and dreams of the people, will there be patriotism? There will be, isn't it? So it's very essential that the people should see the benefit, long-term benefit. Like I'm saying, going back to this water supply, all right? Now, if let's say this project is implemented in starting now, the planning has to start now, and then by the 31st August in next year, there will be a ceremony to officiate and commemorate this project as a Merdeka project for 2019. There will be a plaque there. There will be Undertaking. I think the village community, for example, Penghulu, or the head of the resident association and so on, will have to sign a sort of agreement that they will undertake to maintain this, and they will ask for help if they cannot solve it, so that things run well, and make sure that it is not a white elephant. Many projects are white elephant in the past. So with this method, the villagers will get what they wanted to solve a real problem. Now just imagine every year you solve a new problem, right? It's that the quality of life will improve every year. And do you think that will get patriotism of the citizens?
Yes, of course.
Right? And not only giving them something new, but something they treasure because they play a part. Unlike now, you want a project, the JKR send a team there to do everything, and then that's it. So where is the patriotism? And they take for granted. You spoil them. They're spoiling them. So that's why it must have some contribution. They must have undertaking. They must make promises to do their part.
All right, so now let's talk about your book, How to Make Merdeka More Meaningful. Is all this in the book?
Yeah, this is just a short book about this, and just give the gist of it. Ultimately, I hope to give talks and maybe to get like-minded people to start a movement. I think all this talking, they say ideas are a dime a dozen, right? Everybody have ideas. But what's the point of ideas where the ideas born in the head and die in the head? It does not progress. So for anything to succeed, for idea to go forward, there must be a champion. So I hope that my interview here will plant the seed of finding the champion. And I'm willing to share my ideas, share my philosophy about this Merdeka celebration for 2019, and you can start nationwide. It's very important that we have an e-portal for doing so, because nowadays you have to make use of technology. So there will be a special portal set up, maybe each kampong level, and maybe a central thing so that they can see what each others are doing. Because you see, that will be fantastic creativity and innovation. Yeah. Right? Because you look, I did a lot of research on this and find that many, in fact, in Malaysia, you have a team called CATS, Civil Action Team, where secondary school students go around and find what is wrong, maybe potholes, what are the problems, and then they will have a meeting and find new ideas of solving that. At least contribute the ideas, and you see, you come from that, then there's a breakthrough, and then that's where the government comes in. Now, if your kampong, let's say, all right, is very initiative, you take the initiative to solve problems, you only ask the government for help with expertise, maybe money, some budget, and some supplying materials and all that. The MP will love you because you make them look good, isn't it? If you are initiating a community that are interested in bringing benefits to you, your own community, that'd be fantastic. Everybody's happy. It's not win-win today, it's outdated, you know. It's win-win-win-win. Everybody should win, multiple wins. So I think the idea of win-win is totally outdated. All right. For example, you do business, you win, I win. But how about the consumer? All right. So he or she has to win. So it's a win-win-win minimum. All right.
Yeah, that is an absolutely incredible idea. It's a good idea. So how are you going to make it happen? Have you already planned out the movement?
That's why I'm offering this sort of a script for this, my thoughts on this in a very small book. And the TV viewers can actually have the book downloaded immediately. It's a new technology developed by my friend, a Malaysian publisher. All right? And so this will let them download instantly. The other thing is that it will also help me to identify the people who are interested in this. Because if a person is not enthusiastic, if they have no feel of this concept of innovative Merdeka celebration, then nothing will happen. You need enthusiastic people. So what I'm planning to do on my part is anyone can organize a venue and get the audience. I'm willing to give a 2-hour talk for free, you know. So that's the thing, and they can start off by downloading my book. After that, after which you will show the link, and then I will they will have instant download, and perhaps I can form maybe WhatsApp group, right? All that it needs is to have a few champions in the community and all that. Perhaps I will share a quote from Margaret Mead. Have you heard of Margaret Mead? She's a very famous anthropologist. She says, never doubt the thoughts and commitment of a small group of citizens to change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. That's what she said. Right? It all starts from a community, a small group. All right. So if we have to instill the spirit, it will take a bit of time. If you don't plant the seed, how are you going to get the durians, the fruits later? So I think for this Merdeka 2018 is time to plant the seeds of innovation in Merdeka celebration. And you can continue with the parades for national pride, but we should get everyone involved on board. And for the people, for the rakyat, it is very important to remember the words of the late President Kennedy. He says that do not ask what the country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. So that sums it.
Yep, amazing. I mean, you have to start somewhere. If you don't start, then you're not going anywhere.
That's right, yeah.
Yep. So now, last but not least, before we end our interview today, do you have any special message to your TV audience right here, right now?
Yeah, to all Malaysians celebrating Merdeka today on this very auspicious day, remember the words of President Kennedy. I think about how to be responsible citizens, to be innovative citizens, to initiate things rather than waiting every time asking government for help without lifting a finger. All that you write, maybe have a petition, this petition, that. I think that's not good enough. You must initiate the action. When you have something you're committed, you contributed to the success of any project, you feel proud, right? And it will also unleash the creativity and innovation, because until you take action, creativity and innovation are just abstract concepts. Just like celebrating Merdeka, you feel proud. I don't know what to make you proud of. You must have something to be proud of. So the project you have for every year Merdeka celebration, that is a living testimony. And if you can share all these very good projects, very unique, innovative projects to the rest of the country, do you think that will make a big difference in the culture and attitude of the people?
Of course. All right, so that's it. Thank you so much, Dr. YKK, for joining me on Talking Points and sharing this whole Merdeka thing. And Selamat Hari Merdeka to you.
Yeah, okay.
And I understand that you have free books to give away as well. So if you want a free copy of Dr. YKK's How to Celebrate Merdeka More Meaningfully, all you need to do is SMS in all caps lock, free space YKK space EC1233 space your email address space KKY and lowercase EW. Make sure you include the space in between and send it to +6014 367 111. As simple as that, and all right, that is all for now. We're taking a short break and we'll be right back after this.